Hey YouTube, it's Blink, and today we're going to be talking about aim tweaks, whether they work or not, and whether if it's even possible for them to work, if they're cheats or if they aren't cheats. So let's get it started. So all in all, aim tweaks are meant to be things that can reduce your bloom, your gun spread, or control your shotgun pellets. However, this is possible to do with cheats, but people are marketing them as not cheats, even though they're just Windows settings. They're quite literally selling Windows settings. I'm taking shots at Risen tweaks here because they're the more popular people that sell aim tweaks, but they, in the description, literally say, almost verbatim, these are Windows settings. No Windows settings could ever reduce your bloom or make your shotgun spread tighter or make your gun shoot just harder or better, as they say. I quote one of Risen Tweak's videos here. It feels like it hits harder because it does. That's just not true. That's not even remotely possible with what they're selling. However, it is possible to calculate bloom in such a way that you can reduce your bloom or have a consistent bloom pattern to train, as Fortnite's bloom is calculated with a formula similar to the one I'm about to put on screen right here. So if we look at this, it's S to CPU cycles and shot index, then T1, basically just a bunch of numbers that explain how bloom can be calculated and what radius to what shot, and the different angles that they would be calculated at depending on your X and Y position. So bloom can be calculated pretty much this exact way. There is no way for me to verify that this is the exact formula they use because it's hidden in the source code of the engine, which I do not have access to. But bloom has a max and minimum angle that they can be shot from. So it is -2 degrees from the gun barrel to +6 degrees in a 360-degree ratio. So meaning anything around the barrel can go from -2 degrees from where the crosshair is to +6 degrees away from where the crosshair is. Basically just a bunch of mumbo jumbo math and bullshit, but bloom is calculated with CPU cycles and CPU usage. Same with random number generators. They're calculated the same way. Random number generators are not actually random, and neither is Fortnite's bloom. It's calculated with a close formula to this, as far as I can tell, and as far as my testing has gone. So in theory, there is a way, not even in theory, in practice, I've done this. If you lock your CPU cycles to a certain number of cycles, which sounds useless, irrelevant, and impossible, but it is. It is all useful, relevant, and possible to do. And to cap your CPU usage while playing the game, just having a consistent environment, basically only playing creative maps that you have fully rendered with shader cache to keep everything consistent. So that is the only way you can technically have aim tweaks, air quotes, is by capping your CPU cycles to a certain number and also making sure that your CPU usage is constant. Basically capping your CPU at 100% by using a no idle power plan is one way you can do that, and then a CPU cycle modifier and a task scheduler to make sure that nothing else is running that would cause any changes to it. Then you could calculate your system's base bloom pattern using this formula. I know, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I know you want to click off the video, but trust me, this is going somewhere. So aim tweaks are technically possible, and it has been done by very few people under very specific circumstances. So anybody selling aim tweaks is most likely not even aware of this formula, nor are they aware of how you can predict / manipulate your bloom. But as long as your crosshair stays in the exact same position, either using a recoil reducer or just having perfect recoil control, you can calculate the exact bloom pattern from any gun. The shotgun pellet spread is calculated the exact same way, to -2 and +6. Every gun in Fortnite has that, except for certain rifles like the Red Eye, the DMR. Yes, most rifles are calculated in this normal way, except for the one-shot rifles, similar to like an M1 Grand of the real-life equivalent. But those also have a completely different pattern when you stop aiming down sight. There's a whole other formula for that, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. I'm just going to leave this video as it is. But yes, aim tweaks are possible in a way. They will never reduce your bloom or recoil. They can just be consistent. See, the only feasible way you could do this in Battle Royale is making sure that the CPU usage is consistent and basically playing no build. If you play no build with no extra like pop-up towers or anything else happening and barely any builds breaking, which is not really feasible possible, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying hypothetical scenario here, and you keep your crosshair exactly on the opponent and have perfect recoil control, you can predict the bloom pattern and move your mouse in a certain way that every shot will hit. It is possible, but not feasible to do. There's no way that you can have the consistent bloom pattern that these tweaks are saying, or even reduced bloom, which is just not possible at all. You'd have to have very, I can't even express this enough, extremely specific scenarios to have a reduced bloom. You'd have to find the best bloom pattern, then recreate that CPU cycle and CPU usage down to a T. See, what they're saying here is that if you reduce your process count, overclock your CPU, overclock your GPU, use XMP profiles on your RAM, and have your system be as low latency as possible, that when you play the game, you'll have a reduced bloom. This is not true at all. As we've just stated, it is calculated by a formula via CPU cycles and CPU usage. And it is feasibly impossible on a day-to-day scenario that you will be able to actually use that in that very specific scenario. Obviously, it'd be feasibly impossible for you to actually have those exact same circumstances while playing the game constantly. So all in all, aim tweaks don't work. They're not cheats. It's just shitty marketing. Shitty in my opinion. It's good marketing, but it's shitty tactics. You're marketing aim tweaks to kids that have no idea if they work or not. They're just trusting you. And it just says in the description, because most people are too lazy to read them. This is, again, not exactly shots at Risen Tweaks, because I've known a lot of other tweak sellers to sell aim tweaks, and they all have the same misleading strategies. So when you're buying tweaks, just watch out for aim tweaks. They're not cheats, they just don't do anything at all. All they'll do is optimize your Windows settings, like turn off notifications, turn off focus time, and then make sure your display's at the highest refresh rate. That's all they'll do. They won't do anything more or anything less. If you want real tweaks, I'm not talking about no aim tweaks bullshit. If you want real tweaks, check out the first link in the description, or use that PowerShell line for my new free tweaking utility, similar to how Chris Titus TextScript runs. It's a full optimizer, completely free of charge. Just use the PowerShell script, and if you want to see more tweaks or be updated on my videos or anything that's going on with the tweaking scene, go to my Discord. It will be the first link in the description, and the PowerShell line will be the second thing. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a good day.